You're listening to the StudioPTBO podcast, where we talk all things marketing to help you build and grow your business online. Welcome to the latest episode.
Welcome to the StudioPTBO podcast. We are back, and we're back at it again with another remote version of the Studio podcast. This is very different. If you're tuning in, we've done probably about 12 podcasts over the last week, 2 weeks, which is we're just going ham on podcasts right now and on branding. I am joined here with a guest today, and I'm also here joined with Neil. Neil is working remote. We usually work in the office, but Neil right now is not working in the office, working at home. I'm working at home. Our entire team is remote. Neil, how are you doing today?
Good, man. Our whole lives, like so many other companies around the world, are on Zoom. That's how we're surviving, and it's definitely really brought our team together, kept them close, kept our culture intact. So it's been vital, integral to where we're at right now in the world. It's really brought us together.
It's been amazing, man. And today we have Paul on the show. I know Paul from Cat House Community, and we're doing kind of a series with a bunch of agency owners over the next few weeks, just talk about innovation, ingenuity, creativity, marketing, because now more than ever, marketing is so important. And me and Paul connected through Cat House Community, like a lot of the people that we're talking to right now have connected through Cat House Community. So really today, Paul, I don't want to steal any of your thunder. I always say that. I don't want to steal any of your thunder. Why don't you give us a little bit of a background, kind of Spark Notes version on who you are, what you do, why you do it, and essentially tell us a little bit about your agency and kind of where you're at. I know that you're in Richmond, Virginia right now. We'd love to kind of hear the state of the union, what's happening there. Are you guys on lockdown? What's happening? So yeah, I'll let you take it from here.
Cool. So I appreciate that. And, this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to be here. So quick background bio on me and what I'm doing. I taught Spanish for 2 years. I was a public school teacher before starting my first business, which was a popsicle company. It was gourmet popsicles, made them fresh from scratch, all natural ingredients. And I did that for about 6 years. And then I joined the Cat House community to really dive into digital marketing. I'd always loved marketing and social media, and that was a big part of how I grew that first business. But just felt a need for different challenges and left that business in 2018. So a little over a year, I guess it's, we're in April now. So been doing digital marketing full time ever since then, and specifically with lead generation, because I just love the concept of just taking leads and nurturing and educating and providing a lot of value. And taking a lot of the knowledge that I have from another business of doing a lot of the management side. So not as much dealing with employees right now, just because I work remotely with a lot of other agencies, but helping with business owners know, marketing and management have a huge overlap, because if you know your numbers right, then you can make the best marketing decisions for that. So what I do typically, I work well with a lot of agencies. So they'll contract their work out to me. I'll create their funnels, run their ads, and then I'll take on clients, typically on a project basis, sometimes more of an ongoing thing, maybe just get them set up in certain ways, or, run their campaigns as well. So that's been my niche this past year or so, and looking to just expand upon that and help as many people as I possibly can.
Cool. Paul, so tell me, give me a lay of the land right now in Richmond. So a lot of the people, agency owners we're talking to, they're talking a lot about restaurants and pubs and how they've just been decimated in their towns, just like ours here in Peterborough, Canada. And we're trying to rally behind them and figure out new innovative ways for them to pivot online. And one of the really cool things that I saw you did, I was checking out your Facebook page earlier this morning, is you started a restaurant hacks group kind of type page, offering free training, digital training on how to pivot. So walk us through sort of what things look like right now in Richmond in terms of that sphere, restaurants, pubs, cafes and whatnot, and how you're helping business owners pivot online.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an awesome question. So that group is new, and I'm just using that as a place to put all my content and trainings that I'm having. But, I'm seeing a lot of, anyone that's trying to survive is going online. And so we're seeing the breweries and the restaurants offering their delivery service, curbside pickup, having some type of shopping cart that they're creating and using that to sell the products. Some are more sophisticated than others. Some are just, their website just says, call this number, place an order. And I think depending on, the amount of following that they naturally have, they can do that. But for some folks, I think what it seems to be is that I'm looking at their online store. I'm like, this is confusing. And so the first thing I want to help people with and just get that message out, just make it easy for people to buy. So, we just got a stay-at-home order yesterday. And actually the most popular barbecue restaurant in town, possibly the state, it's won all kind of awards and been featured. I mean, they actually announced that they were going to close at the end of the week, I believe. And it struck me as curious because I was like, they're not hurting for business. I mean, they're one of the top ones that are getting a lot of orders, but it just made me think you don't know what's going on internally. And if a lot of their staff's like, hey, I don't feel comfortable coming in.
Yeah.
Cause it's not, my thought was, well, of course you want to work and that, but a lot of people have different thoughts and approaches to it. So yeah, seeing, how people can craft an offer and a message. And one thing I saw that was really cool was a taco place offer memberships. So, including some swag, shirt, keychain, kind of like a membership card to get some recurring revenue. I thought that was a cool thing. And a lot of the conversations that I've had and speaking with others is, what can you take and combine with your, create an offer basically. You can't just offer a plate of nachos and a margarita. You might have to, create these kits for it. And actually one thing that I found fascinating, we have some weird liquor laws in Richmond or Virginia. The restaurants have to sell 50% food and 50% alcohol. So there's nowhere that's going to be strictly a bar and no food. But one thing that just got passed recently was bars allowing, or the governor allowing restaurants to do cocktails to go. So it's cool seeing some of those kind of very archaic laws being eliminated just to help keep them open.
Yeah, and dive deeper on that membership part, because what is the taco? What are they doing? So you pay a monthly membership. What do you get?
Yeah, I think you get some kind of perks. You get
points almost toward when it does reopen, or
yeah. Well, and I mean for their what am I saying? I guess their pickup, their delivery and pickup service. So just a way to drive revenue. Buy into this membership and get these exclusive offers, exclusive deals. And, just, I thought, people liked it and they got written up in one of the local newspapers for it because it was a unique offer.
Yeah, I like that. We haven't heard that, have we, Cody?
Yeah, no. I've so far we've heard people doing essentially restaurants almost turning into kind of their own meal prep program, similar like Chef's Plate and stuff like that. So we're seeing that, but yeah, I haven't seen the membership yet so far. So
and gift certificates, gift certificates, but haven't membership. I'm gonna throw that out in the hacks group because we have restaurant owners on our StudioPTBO.
Yeah, membership would be really cool, man. Yeah, I'm curious, because Paul, we're chatting with James this morning, and I think that every entrepreneur, when this thing really would hit the fan, every entrepreneur was kind of like, holy shit, what's happening? So I'm curious to know kind of you've always been kind of a positive dude in the online space and, especially with, in Kat's group, constantly posting. So I'm really curious to know how you've essentially maintained mindset and how you have continued to push yourself forward and your clients forward through times of uncertainty. What are you doing on a daily basis? Are there any mindset practices that you've implemented or that have essentially helped you stay grounded during this time? Or maybe walk us through that and what you're doing.
That's an awesome question, because it was something that I've reflected on really the past couple of weeks, because I'm even reminding myself, I'm actually feeling awesome. I'm feeling excited. And I have a lot of self-doubt and insecurities and fear around a lot of things in business, just like everybody else. And so what I want to project to everything is positivity. You can get what you are seeking in life. And if I have the choice, I choose happiness. I really do. What I think the biggest thing now of why I'm able to maintain, because it's nutty. It's crazy out there. I came kind of face to face with a dark perspective of complete and utter failure around this time last year, maybe January, February, maybe a bit more like it. But it was, just a few months into me, leaving the previous business that was it was great. I was working 20, 30 hours a week and business was growing. I knew exactly what to do to get the job done. And then 2-3 months into like, well, I've made this bed and now I got to sleep in it. And like, this ain't what I thought it would be like. And it just remember just having these lows where I was like, why am I doing this? Why do I feel the need to want to grow and take on new challenges? Like, I was happy before. Well, I wasn't the happiest, but I was comfortable. I was safe. Mm-hmm. And I was just yearning for safety and security and certainty around, again, about a year ago. And it was tough because I was lured like, man, I could just apply for this job. Do I need to really excel and push my limits when a steady paycheck is awesome? There's a lot of comfort in that. And so having gone through that last year and realizing or coming out of it and realizing, no, this is like, I am betting all in on this, on myself. And I can, and the metaphor being, it's like you're at a casino, you might lose a lot, but you never run out of money until you stop. So I'm always placing those bets. I lose some, I win some, and always advancing. So now that everyone is in this position of like uncertainty, craziness, people are losing their jobs. And mine is still just as insecure as ever. If I lose a couple more clients, like my cash flow is not going to be nearly as good as I'd want it to be. Mm-hmm. But having gone through that experience last year and just coming face to face with, I either succeed or I run out of money and I don't know, break my lease and move home with my parents. They're down in Georgia. Would that be the end of the world? No, but I don't want that. And so I think that in particular is having gone through that, and gone through that a couple times even with my first business. So to get to the question, it was just going to be a much shorter answer than what I just gave.
Great. This is awesome.
What I've been doing consistently for the past year and a half is having a mindset routine. And I had attempted in the past to do it, journaling, affirmations, meditations, whatever. But like until I got to that point of like do or die, I'm like, if I have nothing else, I have this. I have this to take care of myself. And so it started with journaling out affirmations. One, I started doing like, new opportunities to make money come to me every day. And then actually I switched that a few months ago. It's like opportunities for success come to me because it's not about the money. Success to me is being able to serve people. And so I know with that then comes money. So realigning that was super, super valuable to me because I aligned it with what my personal values are. Mm-hmm. Then started doing some morning walks. Some people might call them wealth walks. Some people might just call it just exercise and benefit. And Cody, I know a mutual friend, mentor, just a fantastic guy that you and I have in common, Stan Way, mm-hmm. In one of his coaching groups, the course one, the exercise of writing out your perfect day. And just the way he presented, whatever he finds important, I'm going to find important. That's why he's just like the perfect teacher for me. So he sent us this video on Frank Kern, how to do a perfect day. I watched it, I wrote it out, and like I remember I went back and watched some of the training he talked about. It's like, it feels like, you kind of rip away a lot of the BS in your life. Yeah. And it was one of the most profound things I'd ever done because I'm typically that type of like, everyone's getting faster results than me. I feel like I'm left behind. I always work at a little bit of a delay. I internalize stuff longer, but I stick with things a lot longer. So I don't think I'm smarter or better than anyone. I think I'm actually super average. The difference between me and anybody else is I'm willing to put myself in an uncomfortable position for a long enough time to see that success.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that. And you started to build that resilience when you left your popsicle business because you said it was kind of like comfort food. You could have just stayed and done that forever.
Yeah.
Like you had to push yourself. So, and Cody and I have been through that last few years too with the agency. It's a roller coaster. Like being an entrepreneur is a roller coaster already. Mm-hmm. The world has never seen before, but what you're saying is you built up that resilience kind of tolerance factor to be able to withstand this to the best of your ability. And what I'm curious about is how have you been able to withstand this? Not so much mindset wise, but let's focus on the business aspect. Like what are your verticals? Some verticals have been decimated, FB marketer and event planning lost everything, right? Or barbershops lost everything. What are your vertical or verticals and how have you focused on client retention through this?
That's an awesome question. I was fortunate that I've aligned myself with agencies that happen to be very well protected. So one with an e-commerce store doing a little bit of work for them. And then a lot of my contracting work has been with an agency that focuses on the dental niche.
Yeah.
So we lost a couple of the dentists. So like, you know what, we can't do anything. We're going to put on pause. And so, you know, I make money based on per account. So I saw that go down a little bit. That was fine. But what we're currently doing with those is we put this offer out to any dentist and then kind of expand it to any doctor of, hey, we're going to do a free setup for you to take virtual consultations. So call that a lead magnet, call that just giving value, whatever it may be. And we had some interest in it. And then we're like, well, wait, why aren't we doing this for our existing clients and the ones that already paused?
Yeah.
So we threw those into the loop. And so those relationships, you know, we're getting a lot of people who are super, super excited about it. And some good feedback from the ones that did push pause, like, thank you, really appreciate this, and excited to like really double down on marketing once I can see patients back. So my hope and optimism is that that's a space that's going back to work, you know, sooner than others, which would be fantastic. So that type of thing, it's been great to build that trust and relationship, and knowing, you know, it just takes a couple of times to hear feedback of what's the catch?
Yeah.
When you tell me on something like, and so I'm just putting it out in front, like, here's the catch. The catch is we want to help you make it in the coming months. And we know that if we do 20 of these, if even just 2 or 3 of them turn into clients, that's a win for us.
Yeah.
And everyone else is like, you know, we want to be helpful. So that type of stuff and helping building those relationships, I find to be very valuable in that particular niche. Now, for every other niche, it's more, hey, let me just help you with as much information as I can provide.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love that approach of like, you know, service. And, you know, we talk a lot about that with Stan, you know, and with Kat, like, you know, Stan specifically, like in his program, it's like we were on a call with Stan. I don't know if you were on that call or not. We were on a call with Stan probably about a week ago when he was kind of giving the state of the union about like, if you just actually give a damn about your clients and actually pick up the phone and genuinely want to help them, that it's like you have a moral obligation to sell, and you have a moral obligation to help them, because we know that 95% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. That's a statistic. We know that, we get that. And if they just shift and pivot their offer, shift and pivot to the online space, that they can still, you know, they have a fighting chance of getting through this. Will every business get through this? Probably not. Like, we're in uncharted territory. So I'm really curious to know, Paul, you know, when it comes to investing into yourself, and it comes to investing into coaches, and you know, you obviously are connected with the Stan Way community, you're connected with the Cat Owl community. What has that done for your business, and what do you think the value of a business owner investing into a coach is? Is it important? Do you find it something that they should absolutely double down on? Like, what are your take on that?
Awesome question. I fully believe in it and wish I'd done it sooner. You know, I think a mindset that a lot of entrepreneurs can fall into is like, well, I know my business better than anybody. You know, no one's going to tell me how to run it. And I know this because I was kind of that way for a few years with the popsicle business, but I had this acknowledgement, there's something that I'm missing, and it's all right in front of me. You know, it's every business is simple. You make money, you spend money. Try to make more than you're spending. Now, there's a lot of advanced strategies to that, but especially with the product, I'm like, how do I sell more popsicles? How do I spend less? I have to spend certain money on payroll. So had I had a coach in that time to know what are the things to focus on, I think that is the sheer value, because you're going to take action on the things that you see to be important and to get you to the outcome that you want. And a coach can help shed light on that. Because if you're looking at it, you know, every business owner is going to look at their business holistically of what's in the present and what do you want to get to in the future. And you're like, shit, I've got 15 options that all could be equally valuable to me. How do I evaluate them and then put my focus and energy onto 1 or 2 of them? So the type of coaching to get to just cut through the emotional attachment that you have, because if you don't have that, you're going to be emotionally attached to everything, and it's going to inhibit you from taking action to where you want to get. So I've seen a lot of progress in myself and in my mindset through the coaching, but then also the community of knowing, like, the confidence that I have just from being in this paid community with Cat How supersedes, you know, anything that I could possibly do on my own. It's like, I'm around some badass people every day on this group, and I'm hearing their information. And so it gives me the confidence to know, like, actually I do know, you know, everyone kind of deals with that imposter syndrome of like, man, am I really know this? Can I be charging? Yeah. And then no, I'm like, wait, I've got some smart people who are sharing this and I can, learn from them and provide that and then continue to serve my clients with it.
Yeah. And they have your back and the ability to take constructive criticism. I'm curious. So say you were still doing your popsicle business right now in this crisis.
Yeah.
What would this, because you must have thought about this, what would that look like right now? I don't know the offerings. You're in store, were you food trucks? Like, take us through that. I'm just curious.
Yeah. So the primary method of making money was going out to events and going to large gatherings of people in the summertime. And, you can make a lot of money by being in the right place at the right time with the right product. It's hot. This is cold. You're going to like this. And store, selling in store. So wholesaling to other places was a big part. And then also catering were kind of the three facets. So I think right now the only one that's going to be viable is the wholesale, but then potentially the bulk order delivery. Now you can't, offices and B2B was the best space, but of course you might have to take a smaller margin to do deliveries and pickups to just those households. So that would have been the focus. And where I think it would have been great is that if you're spending any amount of time on building a relationship, that sale is going to be that much easier to transition and to pivot into a new offer.
Yeah.
So if anything is blatantly obvious to anyone who's having difficulty selling right now, it's like, well, that shows you with just why you make those posts every day, why you share information about your core values and your team and your product and your service, but also you guys as a company and as individuals within that. Because if you haven't spent that time building relationships, it's like if I were to meet someone on the street, like, hey, have a nice chat, and then be like, hey man, we met at the place. Can you help me move this weekend? Like, hell no, man. Like, I barely know you. Like, I kind of know you.
Yeah, way too cool. Yeah.
So like if you think of those relationships, like the people you're going to call on when you really need help are the people you have the best relationships with. And it's no different with business. It's just on a much more massive scale. Yeah. So I think, King of Pops, the popsicle business, we had a lot of great, I guess, clout and reputation. We did a lot on social media because we had to stand out. So that would have been the key thing to then drive those new offerings for pickup and delivery.
I love that, man. Paul, I appreciate your time more than anything today. The amount of great information that we've gotten from this agency series and from sitting down with people like Karen and sitting down with people like James Smith and you, it's just been amazing. I feel like it's providing a ton of value to me and Neil, but it's also providing a ton of value to our community. So I really appreciate your time. And I really, more than anything, if you're a business owner listening to this podcast, I really encourage you. We have a StudioPTBO marketing hacks group, and it's full of business owners that are looking to grow and scale in the online space. It's where we host a lot of these podcasts, and obviously on our pages as well. If you're listening to iTunes or Facebook or Google Play, wherever you're listening to the podcast right now, we're doing a remote series to really help businesses through uncertain economic times create offers and pivot and innovate and maintain solid mindset through this time. So click the link below. There is a StudioPTBO marketing hacks group. There's a few questions to get yourself inside of there. Love to see you on the inside. Thanks, Neil, for hopping another podcast. And thank you, Paul, for shedding a ton of light on essentially what business owners can do to pivot and what you're doing. Ton of value, and I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for everyone for tuning into the StudioPTBO podcast. We will see you soon.